again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What people do in no money, what people at you in no at you. Covid money, miss away in the yellow rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste my must have mantis statue. Say me like a catch you, but bigger than a figure you. Take this print of money, God and say that is not you. One day the man above him up, him a got up. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% free.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption please.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in our river. Member bowl honey and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the sound man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
How them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't.
Well, my party people in the house here ready for this. Global TV, me say we're ready for this. The latest, it's we say we're ready for this. Boom, bam, bam. One Global TV, man. Dan English said that. Don't touch his dial.
Yeah, well, it is I, Bad Bass Alice here, representing on behalf of Dancehall. This is the station of all time, Global TV, Brothers of all time, Alice in a rep, yeah, General of all time. Master with me say, yeah, but the people, them love you bad. Fully informative, salute, like they have to live.
Good night, and welcome to the People's Point of View. We are sorry of last night's absent, but thank you all for being here tonight. Debbie Jervis, welcome. Welcome, Sunshine. Welcome, Cousin Jay. Welcome. Me never see you yesterday and so on. Professor Gorgeous Lady, welcome. Beat and Teach, welcome. Eve, welcome. Who else there? Nicola Walker, welcome. Walker Redin, welcome. Good evening. I hope you don't beat me this evening because I said I haven't really planned anything to talk about. So I'm going to rumble about a few things. And we want to start on them where I beg, buy, and lure votes. We want to start on them where I beg, buy, and lure votes.
Rice and chicken back one, a better deal. Rice and chicken back 2 dear, you. Just like it's expensive. No silent, a $300 pound for chicken back. No silent to it. We're not sleep with the door open, no. Man, thing will be a need to develop. We need things. With the door open, no. bit. Mr. Brogan, I want thing I want to tell them, boss. Boy, I run my business, I don't want to pay them tax like the Chinese them. That's all. That's all I want to do, boss. I run my little business, I don't pay no tax like the Chinese them.
Me live now that a Dr. Chang run up down in and do nothing up there.
The China man live to independence.
And they been live for years. Only when election time he come round. No. See Mr. Chang there. Mr. Chang, me live in paradise and know me. The place need police station at Uga. No.
Okay, so our whole barrage. Cousin Jamie knows that despite with government can control crime, and we have to walk and look behind we. And if we hear one balloon bust, we duck. But me know you must enjoy yourself. Because it's where we come from. And with country in general is a nice neck of the woods. Bless up, Patricia. Bless up. Our whole fleet by beg coerce for vote. Garmanti go be. If you remember last year, I don't remember exactly when now, but most of us remember when the shoes store, the shoes market, the fire did down an arcade a Montego Bay, and quite a few higglers down at the shoes market. And quite a few higglers lost them livelihood and earnings during the fire. So we know the election due next month. So the handout and them something they start. Let me say before me continue. Let tonight be an interactive night where you, the people, see the number upon the screen about TikTok and everywhere else. And as usual, I'll say good evening on TikTok, good evening on the X, on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Good evening and welcome. So, hopefully you can join in the conversation this evening. But we see after the fire, you would have think say, the government and him lied wicked friend them would have, before the Christmas period, if the compensation or the grant rather was a meaningful one to get them back on their feet. If it was me as a thinking government, what I would want to do, given that in the Christmas period, people spend what they don't have. So therefore, it would be the best time to get them back on them feet because the sale turn up in a Christmas unlike the rest of the year. No so you would normally think about it. You help me remember say me a fool sometimes. But because election are next month, and them know say Dr. Chang, as the young man said on the video, Dr. Chang not come there till election time. Or we can also say till him ready to go give out guns. So is this staging yesterday is to coerce Western Jamaica to vote for Dr. Chang and the Jamaica Labour Party? Because I think if we don't want to make the higglers whole who've lost out in that fire, one of the things that the government should have done is make these people whole before the Christmas period. If you're really thinking about economy, wholeness, if you're really thinking about economy, the best time to would have made these people whole or give them a grant to restart their business, it would have been November would have been a better time, because the Christmas period, they would have garnered more sale in the Christmas period that would more than likely give their business a bounce back. But because of vote buying prime minister or vote coercing, then the people because it's vote buying and vote coercing, you have to push it closer to the point of where you can mesmerize the people to say, oh, the Prime Minister and Dr. Chang care about us and is looking out for us. Elijah B., if you're saying no sound, probably you need to refresh your device, because nobody else is saying that. So then go down there the whole of them. Okay, good. Them go down there the whole of them. Pernell Charles Jr. Wholeness we can verify him asset. Chang when him not sleep in a parliament, the only time him go a Montego Bay is go hand out guns. It's still PM my time, Opal. It's still PM my time. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Joan Sinclair. Him still, when him not sleep, him da flanker a hand out gun. So Dr. Chang have to use the pain and disaster that happened last year, that if they found the money to remedy it yesterday, they could have remedied it from November to at least tap up the screen over TikTok for me, please. Tap up the screen, like and share on all platforms. The money what them find yesterday, they could have found that money in October, November. If it's really about helping to get their business back off the ground. Because December would be a good economic time for them to bring their business back on stream, because people are buying. People spend money that period more than others. So is it really to help rebuild their business, Prime Minister? Or is it to buy and shore up Horace Chang return to Parliament? Because he has not done well in his portfolio as a Minister of National Security, nor as a Deputy Prime Minister. So was this ploy in Montego Bay yesterday is to shore up Dr. Chang's return to Parliament? And should Dr. Chang be really contesting a next election? Shouldn't Dr. Chang be retiring? What is Pernell Charles' aim in that stunt yesterday? Was it that they really cared about the people? Or is it about going around the country, pulling a wool over the people's eye? Because we saw how fast, after the demonstration in Westmoreland yesterday, in George Stool constituency, how quick the truck with the mall and the bulldozer got there when the people blocked the road, blocked the riverbed that was in the road, that was there visible for quite a long time. But while George Wright was swinging his stool across the constituency and around his then woman, probably now wife, no one saw that road until the people got so fed up. Until the people got so fed up to the point where they have to take drastic action and block the road. It was only then, given that the Prime Minister promised $40 billion to fix our local roads. We're still waiting to hear when those money will be on stream, and you in the constituencies should start asking when my road is going to start getting fixed. When this pothole from Michael Manley and Siaga time will exist, when nothing happen to, when will this get fixed? Because the day from Siaga and Manley days, and nothing happen. So when will it get fixed? Because the Prime Minister has allocated $40 billion to fix our local roads. Is it another promise that will not come to fruition? Is this another promise because local government election constitutionally is around the corner? Is this a going around stunting the nation, pulling a wool over the nation eye, because the voter apathy is rather alarming? The voter apathy in our country is rather alarming. That was one of the Dan Anderson poll. Party leader trusted most. 21 of the polling says Mark Golden. 25 says the crook who hasn't signed the code of conduct, nor can he verify the overblown asset that the Prime Minister has. The alarming figure is 43, almost half of the voting population, almost half of the voting population trust neither. That is alarming. 11% don't know. So when you put the 11% of don't know and the 43% of neither, we have 50% of voter apathy. 50% of voter apathy. That's our situation. A situation like this, in a democracy which is not hinged and hereditary, would create a new open field for a new political party to survive, to tap into, and to feed into, because the voter apathy is so staggeringly loud. The voter apathy is so vast that had our country not been entrenched on this hereditary politics, the diehardism politics, the politics that my grandmother and my great-grandmother and my mother supported, I have to support that political party because anciently in my family supports this party. If it wasn't for that type of politics in Jamaica, the field is wide open at the moment for a strong and fast-growing third party to come in and fill the gap. Some people might say, but the UIC is a third party and is a registered party to contest the election. But the UIC has seemingly rather burnout or stagnant or maybe even having a lot of internal division and power struggle that we see almost to the point of the same thing that brought the People's National Party to the dismal, lukewarm position that the People's National Party find themselves in. With this opening for the intervention of a third party, should the UIC not getting themselves together and feeding off the gaping voter apathy that exists in our country at the moment? What is happening in our opposition parties? Why the division is so wide? Why they cannot get it together? The UIC seem to cannot get it together. The People's National Party over the last 8 years, or since Portia Simpson has left, cannot get it together. If we don't get it together, we will have another 4 to 5 years of danger. If Wholeness wins the election, it might even be Jamaica's final election if Wholeness gets his way, because in a republic, your democracy, and in a system like Jamaica, which is so corrupt, your democracy can be swept from under your feet in no time by just a legislative instrument. While I don't support us being a part of the crown, while I would want us to have our own republic, this is not the government This is not the government to do our constitutional reform. This administration has shown time and time again that it does not respect rules. It does not follow rules. This current administration has shown time and time again it doesn't follow rules. From just using the SOE and ZOZO willy-nilly to fight crime rather than implementing a crime plan, which the court says violates the Constitution. From changing the Constitution in the dead of night to extend parlor time, or even extending parlor tenure unconstitutionally. This regime continuously violates rules. On that basis, it wouldn't be the best team to take a constitutional reform forward. It is dangerous when you have a prime minister which continuously violates the Constitution, wanting to rip up what we have now and give us what he thinks he should give us. Why is the UIC falling behind? Why is Joseph Patterson and the UIC not out there on the ground garnering support from the people, getting to know the people, getting the people to know about the political party and what it stands for? The poll is asking which party leader trusted most. It's a Dan Anderson poll. It was asking which of the leader is most trusted. So even though we have a gaping voter apathy in our country, the third party who should be able to feed into this cannot get it right. So we are in big problem wherever you look at it, because the opposition, the sitting opposition cannot get it right. And a third party, cannot get themselves together. There has been, even though the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister, when I'm talking, pain my head. The Prime Minister keeps saying crime is going down. But when you notice since the start of the year, there's just shooting here, there, and everywhere. Debbie Jervis, me not ever hear much even about Joseph Patterson anymore, to be honest with you. It is just so shameful, because it had promising policies and voices, but you know, so some things can be 9-day wonder in Jamaica. But you all notice, even though the Prime Minister keep telling with the murder down, this down and that down, you notice from the year start, there is shooting here, there, and all over the place. A man was shot dead while playing domino. Linstead man was shot while playing domino at a shop. In passing, I wonder if Dr. Nesbitt did that if he run go pick up the spent shell. Because we know Dr. Nesbitt love run go pick up spent shell. Michael Ricketts, the current head of the JFF, is contesting again, and it is said in, sorry, it's not this, in the 2019 election, he didn't put up his manifesto, and he's now saying he's confident that they will return him. What I want to ask Michael Ricketts, the president of the JFF, what is your problem with the Reggae Girls and Cedella Marley if it is you who is having the problem? The People's National Party has signaled, based on asking Cedella Marley to rethink her resignation. Are you the one having the problem with Cedella Marley and the team? Or is it a direction from central government that you have been forced to push forward? Who, Mr. Ricketts, is having the problem with Cedella and the team? Is it you? Is it the hierarchies that work below and amongst you? Or would it be pressure coming from central government that tie you and your officials hand behind you? But I also think that Cedella should speak to exactly what the issues are with you misogynists, bunch of misogynists in these high positions. Michael Manley legacy. No, son, don't call me Professor Wayne. Don't attach the word to me. Just call me Wayne. Just call me Wayne. So Wayne, all right. Michael Manley legacy. Social housing. National Housing Trust. Where wholeness take and turn him love child and him baby and arms it up and wrap it up, because this prime minister has to be and not have to be shown that he's a dictator, because the amount of office that wholeness controls in the office of the prime minister. Wholeness is has the ministerial portfolio for housing. Hence, I don't see why he's using Michael Manley legacy of what the National Housing Trust should be and should provide to advance his personal ambitions to sweeten up his political agenda. Because this social housing con that the prime minister, we see the prime minister is pushing. Those of us who live in foreign know say I don't so social housing go. What the prime minister is more doing is what we would have called in Jamaica then poor relief housing. But this is in no way, prime minister, social housing, using the contribution of the people who contributed to the National Housing Trust. And these people can't even sometimes get their money, or a lot of them, their money, though been deducted from their salary by their employer, which ought to have to be done by law. It's what the law says. It's a mandatory contribution. And sometimes these people, even if they get it back, it cannot buy the properties that are on the market. The money they get from the National Housing Trust cannot buy the properties that are on the market. But this is not what social housing is. What the Prime Minister is doing is not what social housing is. For Jamaicans' understanding at home, for those of you who may have never traveled before, our housing scheme system in Jamaica, if the government is serious about social housing, what the government should be doing is building housing schemes across the nation. Particularly, though, I would prioritize the garrisons behind zinc constituencies. The reason for that, that's also a crime fighting mechanism. When the people see their community develop, their lifestyle develop, opportunities present themselves, people tend to do better. So the type of social housing that the Prime Minister should be doing is building housing schemes across the country for different, I don't know what this word is now, but in different criteria. You would have some that people who can afford to buy. And these shouldn't be done out of the reach of working class Jamaicans, because the current system now, even if a teacher, nurse, or a doctor get their return from National Housing Trust contribution, it cannot buy the properties that are on the market. So what the government ought to do is build affordable housing schemes across the country for people who can buy at the affordable price they buy. Or what the government can do is rent indefinitely to families to lift people out of poverty. And that money that you accumulate from rent, Prime Minister, from renting those housing schemes to families across the country, the returns of that will continue to go into building more social housing across the country. But what you are doing now, Prime Minister, JJ, does Prime Minister Holness not have the portfolio for housing? That's my understanding. If anyone else know different, please let me know. But he has the portfolio for housing like he has the portfolio for defense and others. And this is why you see Holness is the one who's taking the social housing drive. But this is in no way social housing. This is just to advance the Prime Minister's favorability and electorability, if I saw the word go. But what the Prime Minister is doing, it's not how social housing is done. If you want to really do social housing, Prime Minister, to lift a vast amount of Jamaicans out of the garrison lifestyle situation. What you ought to be doing is building apartment blocks across the country. And the rent from these apartment blocks can continue along with the National Housing Trust contribution, continue to develop social housing across the country. But to pick out one person in our community here, there, and everywhere and build them like a shapeless house that when we see I go around the country go build. That's not social housing, Andrew Holness. Don't try to fool the people. Don't try to fool the people. That is not social housing. That is government politician using public funds to advance their personal political ambitions and agenda. But I'm going to talk briefly about the Maroons. And if anyone wants to call in, please do so. Tonight is phone program. All these programs are your program to interact with, to give your views and your opinion. The Maroons are the longest free nation in the Western world. They have the longest independence celebration in the Western world. We have never known of any other Jamaica administration to be in conflict with the Maroon until the Holness regime presented itself. For some reason or another, Andrew Holness seemed to have problem with Chief Richard Curry's leadership. My understanding is when Chief Curry took up his role and was invited to the parliament, Holness did not deliberately, it would seem, did not enter the parliament until Chief Richard Curry left the parliament. We saw during COVID where they tried to stop their compound celebration under the COVID rules. However, it went ahead and within altercation with the police, a Maroon got shot and killed. We also saw Prime Minister Holness in public saying there's only one sovereign authority in Jamaica, and not 1 inch of land, not 1 inch or something like that will come under another sovereign authority. So, in that speech, you can see to say, Holness is saying, I do not recognize the Maroons nor their authority, or even if I recognize them, I do not recognize their legal jurisdiction. Because he said there's only one sovereign authority in Jamaica. we also saw where after all these things, Wholeness gave a direction that no member of government should do business with the Maroons. It is widely known as well that Andrew Wholeness tried to use the divide and conquer tool among the Maroons, such as having a meeting with the other chiefs, but does not want to meet the paramount chief of the Maroon, which is Chief Richard Curry. What is this administration's problem with the Maroon? Because we've never seen this behavior coming from any administration before. Good night, Stacey. Good night, Paula. How you all doing? We've never seen this behavior coming from any administration before the Wholeness administration. What is Wholeness' problem with Chief Richard Curry? Is it Chief, the person, or is it the boundaries of the cockpit country? Or is it the rich minerals below the ground of the cockpit country? What is Prime Minister Wholeness' problem with Chief Richard Curry? Because we have never had a standoff. We have never had a standoff between the Maroon community and a Jamaican administration. This is the first that we're having a standoff with the Maroons and an administration. Is the Wholeness regime declaring war on the Maroons? If the Wholeness regime is saying there's only one sovereign authority in Jamaica, and it has never been so prior to Wholeness, the Maroons were always under their sovereign authority since the late 1800s, the mid 1800s, the late 1800s, 17, so on. Is this the agenda of Andrew Wholeness? Or are there international forces behind the Prime Minister's agenda? What are your thoughts on the Prime Minister's behavior towards the Maroons, particularly Chief Curry and their compound Maroons? Because the Prime Minister is willing. The Prime Minister is willing to have dialogue with the other Maroon communities, but not Chief Curry. Why is that? But we're going to continue this conversation with regards to not just the Labour government stonewalling the Maroon. The PNP seem to be doing the same thing. The media also seem to be doing the same thing. Because last year, Mr. Golden was at the Maroon celebration. He took to the stage and gave what I saw then as quite a promising speech. Why was there such a lack of media coverage? It is the oldest celebration on the island. Not just the oldest celebration on the island, it is the oldest celebration in the Western Hemisphere. Should that not be one of the biggest media festival, one of the most covered festival? Just like people would travel from abroad to attend Sting, it's the same for the Maroon Festival. Dr. Umar Johnson was there for the first time. And from year in, year out, people travel from the diaspora to attend January 6th celebration. Even those who just visited for Christmas holiday have the experience of the Maroon celebration. What is this regime problem with the Maroon? What is the problem over? Is the problem with Andrew Holness, or are there international force behind? And is it to do with our resources? If you want call to give your opinion, this is where Wayne will say good night. But we will continue to probe further on the Maroon issue, because it is an issue to be highlighted. It is an issue that Andrew Holness is using to divide not just the Maroon communities, but to also create division between the Maroon community and the wider Jamaica. We must not allow this regime to use the slave masters' tactic of divide and conquer in order to disrupt us, to displace us, with the intention to steal the resources, the rich resources from under our feet. It is far time that as a people, we wake up and understand the power we have, the resources we have, and should us as a people come together, we can take our country and our resources back. And that is what we will use to build the first world that we should be living in, the first world that we're running to Europe and America to find, the first world in Europe and America that our rich resources in Africa and the Caribbean is used to build these first world. If we take back our country, we can use these rich resources to build these first-class, first-world systems in our country so that we can live in blissful weather and retire in blissful society. This is the people's point of view. Thank you for joining us tonight. To those on the X, on Twitch, on TikTok, Facebook, on YouTube, thank you for joining us. If anyone wants to call and give their point of view, I will hang on and ramble for a few minutes. If not, this is where we will say good night. And I don't know if you have recognized, but today is the first day that we have managed to do our full 3 shows. Today at midday UK time, 7 a.m. Eastern time, we did our At a Glance broadcast. Then at 6 p.m. UK time, 1 a.m. Eastern Time. We did our Drive Time London, Lunchtime Global. And as usual, our nighttime program at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The People's Point of View. Thank you very much. We enjoy your company night after night. Thank you all. Thanks to my moderators who are always here, giving me the support and keeping the chat in order. Thank you all very much. I really, really appreciate your support. We will see you in our next broadcast, which is scheduled for midday UK time tomorrow, which will be 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all very much for being here, and we look forward to your support when we come back on stream. Thank you. Be blessed, be careful, and also be gracious and full of gratitude. Thank you very much.